15 years, the damage that load shedding has brought to this economy has been incalculable.
The death toll from the recent floods in the South African province of KwaZulu-Natal has risen to 49.
After a fairly subdued night, the Knysna fires have begun to grow again.
We begin tonight with the nation already on edge in the coronavirus pandemic as protests turn violent.
London's burning and no one seems able to bring it under control.
You're listening to Off-Grid Survival, South Africa's first prepper podcast. And we are your hosts, Brett and Ben. Greetings, how's it, Ben? Welcome to episode 10.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, man. So, we're on episode 10. This is quite a milestone for us. Some people said we would never get here. We've got here, and we're going to go further.
And so what are we doing for episode 10?
Oh, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun and just go through some of our favorite things with regard to prepping.
Is that like favorite things out of music or needful things like Jack Nicholson?
No, more we'll stick to prepping, I think. And
Okay.
our favorite gadgets. How's that?
Okay, so how you...
Gadgets and tools.
How are you wanting to rate it?
I've literally just taken my 10 favorites and I've put them in an order of things that I use the most, basically.
Okay. So not specifically like hiking or town work or...
No, this is my gadget list.
Okay.
Yeah. At number 10, I've got good old-fashioned, my flint and steel. It's one of many ways I've got of starting a fire. There's a great one that I've got. It's got a molded plastic handle. The the flint is about 8 centimeters long. Gives a really good spark. And I've started many fires with it.
So you're talking about a ferrocerium rod?
Ferro rod, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, my 10 is my Solar Jenny.
Okay.
I got a Jackery. It's awesome. I would like to upgrade to something in the future, but that's the one that is useful to me.
So I've also got the Solar Jenny on my list, but mine's a bit further down. And your one's quite a bit different to mine. I know we've discussed it before, but you've got a actual solar panel for yours, where my one, I haven't got that far yet. And mine, I have to plug into mains power.
Yeah, well, I just got the cheaper option, just a hard panel, which
Yeah.
we could organize for your one. But your one's nice because it can take a higher charging current.
Yeah, I think mine's in the 150 volt.
No,
150
150 watt or
150
200
watts, yeah. Which is great. Yeah.
Mine's only 100 watt.
So something like solar generators, really useful. They've got hours of battery backup,
Yes.
and they're not particularly bulky, and they're silent, as opposed to a petrol generator.
Yes. And they're light. Even if you want to take your lead acid 12 volt and a little inverter, it's a heavy pack.
Yes. I think that one of mine, the entire thing weighs about 3 kilos.
Yeah, same.
Cool. Then my number 9, I've got an old school pellet gun. One of those, I think it's a Spanish-made break breech that takes the dovetail pellets, or you can get the darts for it. It needs a little bit of work, a little bit of TLC, but, if it comes to a point where I've got to go and hunt small game like guinea fowl, some dussies or something like that to put in the pot one day, it's there.
Yeah.
I've got backup pellets for it. I've got a couple of boxes of pellets, which are getting quite pricey now as well. I just need to practice with it a lot more and zero it in. But I think having a tool that can be used for fun, learning how to shoot, learning how to handle firearms, and at the same time, it doesn't require a license.
Yes.
So I don't have to worry about competencies and relicensing every 5 years and that sort of thing. Yeah, it's really nice to have.
Yeah, my 9 is slightly different. It's a chainsaw or chainsaws.
So you've got a bit of a collection, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I love me a chainsaw. And it's so therapeutic making firewood. And it's about the only carpentry I do that I'm any good at. And yeah, it's lovely being able to play with a chainsaw. I know some people don't like the noise, but when you got earphones in and you're the one making the noise, it's not such a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually don't own a chainsaw. It's something I've looked at. I was looking at maybe getting for home use, like a little one of those electric ones, which is more of like a brush trimmer kind of vibe.
A brush trimmer is different to a chainsaw, but get an electric one because I got a cheapy Ryobi one, electric one, plugs into the mains like a rat tail, and it makes about possibly less noise than a cordless drill, or like electric drill. So it's lovely for making firewood quickly or doing something, especially where I stay. People are immune to noise. I mean, not immune to noise, sensitive to noise.
Sensitive to noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, even here, when the guys are busy felling trees up on the hill behind us here, you can hear that from kilometers away.
Yeah.
That sound really does travel. And in a SHTF situation where you may be not wanting to make a lot of noise, but you've still got power.
Yes.
Whether, I don't know, would you be able to run an electric chainsaw off a solar generator?
Not the ones that we have, but that said, you could have a battery-operated chainsaw.
I know Milwaukee does a battery-operated one, but they're not cheap.
Ryobi does as well.
Ryobi's. They've all got the lithium-ion batteries now. So.
What is the yellow one? Not the DeWalt, the Igno or something like that.
Yes. Yep.
They do a chainsaw as well.
Oh, okay.
Chainsaws have their uses, and they're wonderful. You got to look at, if you're bugging in versus bugging out. Is a chainsaw going to be one of your go-tos for packing into your vehicle? My go bag's got a folding like arbor saw, and that works hundreds.
It's just time consuming and requires a little bit of elbow grease.
Yeah, but that's why you have kids.
Nice one, dude. Well, okay, jumping down to my number 8, I've got a little gadget that I recently bought. It's a solar powered radio.
Yes.
You had a bit of a look at it earlier. I've got it here. It is about 15 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 3 centimeters. It has a little fold-out solar panel on the back. It's got a LED torch on one side. It is 5 shortwave channels, AM, FM, and it's got a built-in MP3 player. And it's got a built-in small lithium battery, and it's got place in the back for a larger lithium battery as well.
Yeah, and D-cells.
And D-cells, yes.
Yeah.
So it's fairly compact. It does have one of those old school telescopic aerials, which will probably break the first time I use it. But we've tried it, we've tested it, and it picks up radio stations well. And I think in a situation where we might have no electricity for long periods of time and wanting to keep up with the news and what's going on, the chances of at least knowing what the government is putting out.
Yes.
You don't have to believe it, but at least know what they're saying. Having something like a radio with multiple channels is a good idea.
Yeah, especially if you're wanting to limit the amount of signals you putting out. You don't want to, even if you have signal, don't want to go onto your cell phones or that type of thing. Monitoring weather station or whatever is good.
So one of the nice things with this one as well is it's not digital. It's the old school, almost like a crystal radio where you got to dial it in to the channel, which I think gives less that can go wrong with it in some ways.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've used it a couple of times now. It set me back, I think it was 250 Rand.
Yes. That's cool.
Yeah, no, nice little gadget.
Yeah. On a side note about the radio, you were working in centimeters. Why? Why do people work in centimeters?
I've got no idea. I've always done things in centimeters.
Okay. Now I come from an engineering background, so don't work in centimeters because it's confusing.
You millimeters?
It's millimeters, so it's microns, millimeters, and meters. That's what you work in.
Yeah, I'm not from an engineering background, and we're not American, so we don't use inches. So.
Well, a lot of the machinery, the old machinery, still use inches, and that's its own type of confusing.
Very much so. Yeah.
Anyway, my number 8 is I just have various forms of firearms. So a .22, a pellet gun, even if you want to go down to a bow if you have one, or a ketty. So any way of being able to harvest food. A lot of people in their mind do, I'm going to run into the bush and defend myself against the South African army with my array of small caliber firearms. And that's not what it's about. If you're in a position where you have to be somewhere where you don't have food, firearms can harvest that food at a longer distance than throwing a rock can.
Definitely.
And even a ketty, you can catch a dove with a ketty way easier than with your hand.
Yeah.
And so I look at that type of thing. Pellet gun as well, a nice breakneck, because you can make improvised projectiles. Even when it comes down to you watching some of these guys do food harvesting with blowguns, like make your own blow darts and become proficient with it.
Yeah, blow darts something I've never tried. Well, as a kid, we obviously messed around with bits of PVC pipe and stuff like that, but not something I've ever tried seriously.
Yeah.
And I know seeing old videos or old TV shows, Discovery Channel and that sort of thing, guys in South America, how they do serious hunting, and they can take stuff out quite a distance away with some of those blowguns.
Yeah. Well, I follow a YouTube channel, Tim Wells, and he does bow hunting and everything, and all of it's about instinctive shooting, I think it's called.
Okay.
So it doesn't use sights.
Oh yes, yeah.
And it's amazing the shots they get off and what they take down on stuff that we wouldn't consider big enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my.
So, something as small as a pigeon can feed a person and keep you going in a really tough situation.
Yeah, it's better than scorpions.
I've eaten crickets before, but that's the worst I've done. Ask no questions.
Okay.
So, and then, my number 7, I've got my comms setup. So I've got a variety of different wattage two-way radios, from little 3 watts up to slightly bigger 5 watts, which they are still available on the market. There is some debate around whether we're allowed to use them or not, but you can still buy them in the shops. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I've got them. A couple of friends have got radios as well in town, so we can keep comms that way. I've also got a couple of I've got an app, I think it's called Vimo, that basically turns your cell phone into a two-way radio, push to talk.
Yeah, I've got comms, but I don't know. It didn't really make my favorite things list. It's kind of like one of the things you need, but it's not one of my favorites. I also have got a variety of radios, and yeah, they're useful to have, and they prove useful when you're doing different activities. Even if you're hiking, somebody at the front to somebody at the back, it's useful just being able to say, "Can you guys slow down?" or "We have a problem."
Yeah.
My number 7 is I've made a homemade pan and a grid. So I took like a stainless steel mesh and folded the edges over and made it like a little hiking grid.
Oh, cool.
And then I made myself a little mild steel pan. So you take a flat piece of mild steel, you bend the edges, and then you make a thing that you can put on the fire. Yes, it warps to hell and gone and then straightens itself over time, but it's got a little handle, so you can fry a piece of bacon, fry an egg, whatever else on it. And again, it's light enough to stick on your pack and you can hike with it.
Okay. I've never thought of doing something that way. I've got your standard belly kit that you buy from the camping stores.
Yes.
Which is 2 pots with a lids that double as very tiny frying pans.
Yes.
Which I've used many times on hikes and camps and that sort of thing. But yeah, actually making something a bit bigger, but that's flat, that can go into your pack, is also not a bad idea.
My little pot, like you're talking about, that's all in my go bag. So that's coming up later.
Okay. Well, then we get down to my number 6, which is my first aid kits. Yes, many plurals there. I've got about 4 or 5 of them scattered around. I've got a car kit. I've got my big camping kit. I've got a home kit. I've got an IFAC. I've got one in my EDC bag. I've got first aid kits all over the place. Some people might say, well, why isn't it further down the list, closer to number 1? It's in the middle because it's something I use regularly and it is important. I consider first aid very important. That's why I've got the equipment.
Yes.
But yeah, I've got some other things that I think are just as important, or if not more important, on that list. We discussed with Walter last week first aid kits and what goes into them, and I need to update mine.
We need to review everything.
I need to review, especially things like my IFAC and stuff. I don't have a tourniquet in mine, for instance.
Yes.
Which is something that I'm looking at getting, but I want to get the correct training first.
Yes.
Speaking of that, we have a special announcement coming up in the coming week. So keep your eyes on your Spotify and you'll see our special announcement regarding something that might be happening.
Yeah, that's good. So I was talking about EDC or go bag. So I have a go bag, which is basically I can pick up and go hunting. I can pick up and go camping. I can pick up and go hiking, not very far hiking, but it's got like my bully beef in it, my little fold up saw, my pot, like you're talking about. It's got my pot, my burner, everything in it. So I can pretty much pick it up and be self-sufficient for 3 days. The only thing I need to add is water. It's got wet weather gear in and all that type of stuff.
So that's more of a go bag than an EDC bag.
Yeah, that's my go bag, but I have an EDC on me all the time, and that's got the made kit as well. My go bag does. So I lump them together because my EDC is on me all the time, but if I'm going anywhere, the go bag, even if I go in and I'm doing a course somewhere, I'll just take that bag, throw it in my boot because
It's got all your stuff in it.
So if I need to make a cup of coffee, I've got coffee in it. If I want to cook my bully beef, I can do that. I'm not reliant on anybody.
Just with regard to that, so do you then, when you get home, replenish your bag with everything with stuff you've used, or does it kind of get put in a corner and forgotten about?
No. This has everything in it.
Okay, so you're quite diligent about replenishing supplies.
The only changes are, if I know I'm gonna have time, I might bomb some proper coffee in, because then you just make like a carbo coffee. I got a brew spoon which works all right, but it works excellently as a strainer.
Yes.
So you take your little pot and pan and you cook yourself some coffee grounds in the pot, boil the water, and you pour it through the brew spoon, and you have yourself an epic cup of coffee somewhere. And it could be at the beach, it could be in the middle of town, or it could be on a mountain somewhere.
Yep.
Or driving down to wherever you stop next to the road and do your own.
I'll admit to being a bit of a coffee snob. In my camping kit, not in my EDC, I have a pour over with filter papers and ground coffee.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's my little luxury item that I take every time I go camping.
Oh, that's cool.
So my number 5 is my EDC bag.
Oh, okay.
So we're pretty close on those. But mine is my bag that it literally goes everywhere with me. It's a 35-liter multi-pouch pack with moly webbing on the outside.
Yes.
I don't like tying things to the outside of my bag.
Mm.
The moly attachments are there in case I need to, but generally the bag from the outside is plain. There's no bits and bobs hanging off it and little keychains and this and that. It's got what it needs. It's got my survival kit in it, which is plastic waterproof box, lockdown lid, which has got a bit of everything in it.
Yes.
It's got a fixed blade. It's got my multi-tool. It's got my first aid kit. I take it to work with me. It goes everywhere with me. It can even fit my laptop in it, and it can fit a hydration pack in it.
Yes.
It is a really cool bag. The only thing I changed on it when I got it was it's got metal zips, and the clink, 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 clink drives me mad when I walk. So I got heat shrink that you use for electronics, and I cut some pieces and I put those over the zip tabs.
Okay.
And that dulls that clinking noise.
Yes.
And you don't have a stickiness that you would get with insulation tape.
Yes.
I have noticed recently that was about 2 years ago that I put it on. Those have started to wear from obviously using them constantly, and I need to replace 1 or 2 of them. But this bag I've been carrying for easily 2 years now, and I use it every single day. In and out the car, it's thrown around. I really, having a good backpack or good day pack is essential.
Yes. Well, my EDC I carry on my person all the time. So it's a smaller pack. That's why I differentiate between a go bag and an EDC. Because my EDC's got a small med kit in it, and my knives, recharging cable, sharpener, everything, even to a lavalier mic in case I'm needing to record.
Yeah.
So that a lot, the flash drives, that type of thing. Even my wallet's in it.
Okay.
So I keep all my stuff, but it's on my person all the time.
Yeah.
And
So the reason I've got a bigger pack is because I do carry a laptop with me for work.
Yes.
And this one was big enough that I could have my EDC gear as well as my work stuff in the same bag. I didn't have to carry 2 bags. That's why I went for a slightly bigger day pack style.
Yes.
It is a bit military looking with the moly strapping, but I went for a plain black one. I didn't go for a multicam or a tan or something like that. I tried to go away from the military looking style because it's something I use for work.
Yeah.
But it's practical. It is comfortable. It's got chest straps. It's got waist straps. It's got good lumbar support. I'm really impressed. It's a really nice bag.
That's good. Yeah, my number 5 is my med kit. I say med kit. But
our EDCs and medkits were swapped around.
Yeah, but when I say my med kit, it's not all the first aid kits that I have.
Okay.
Even the one in my EDC is just a little first aid kit with stuff. My med kit is one I put together. I got it from a tactical store, so it's got a lot of seal stuff in that you can replace.
Okay.
So I've got obviously the normal first aid stuff in it, plus things for being more away from the hospital.
Right. We mentioned when we were talking with Walter, I think you said you bought one of those skin staplers and some other stuff.
Oh, no, that stuff's at home.
Okay.
Yeah. Skin staplers, removers, those are I have suture kits and all that type of stuff, and forceps. All that is more specifically that if you're in a situation where you have the medical personnel but they don't have the gear,
Yeah.
that's not the med kit. The med kit that I have is something that I can actually throw in. And it's got a MOLLE system on it. So it's got a quick release Velcro system and all that. And all that I found is if it's your MOLLE's on your back and you're walking through the bush, your med kit falls off. So it needs to be in your bag. So it becomes a bit of a pain, but it's worthwhile having on you. And it's not red. So for a more tactical situation, it's not drawing attention to self, but it's very hard wearing. So it can fall on the ground and whatever else, and nothing happens to it.
Nice. Cool. And then down to my number 4. So I've got what was your number 10, the solar generator. But I've also included with that battery backups. So I've got a range of, what are these things called now?
Power banks.
Power banks.
Yes.
I've got a couple of them here, different sizes, different amp hours. I've got one that's got a built-in solar panel. And these were actually, if I think back, probably some of my first true preps that I ever got when load shedding started. Before I even started thinking about, storing food and learning how to dehydrate and doing tactical courses and things like that, load shedding made me think what I need when the lights go out. And at the time, what I could afford was a pretty basic little power bank that can recharge my phone and just keep me in contact with people. Contact is important. We're social creatures. And when the lights are out, being able to check Facebook and Twitter sometimes is essential. I know you disagree with me.
Twitter will burn your battery quickly.
Not as quickly as Facebook does. That just charges your data.
But coming back to the power bank, I also had a solar panel one and all that type of stuff. And I found that you could leave that thing. So unless it's a really emergency that you're going to leave this thing to charge for a week just to get yourself some percentage onto your phone, the 3 watts or 4 watts or whatever that you get all that solar panel. No, it's not even.
It's not even that.
It is. It's about 4 watts of 5 volt. It's tiny.
1 amp 5 volt. This one.
The solar panel.
Yeah.
And so that's in under ideal circumstances. And as soon as your panel starts getting hot, which is as a black panel on a black battery, it's fast. It doesn't charge very well.
Yeah.
I eventually, through all my power banks, settled on getting myself a 20,000 milliamp Samsung, which does super fast charging in and out. So when you have power, it charges quickly. And when you need power, it charges your device quickly.
Yes.
So it can handle bigger loads. And I've done a 7-day walk with that and charging my watch and my phone. And my phone I was using for videoing and photos the whole time. Yeah. And that lasted through the 7 days.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So
with this little solar one, this is probably one of the oldest ones that I have. I'll be honest, I don't even think the batteries work in this thing anymore.
Yes.
But the solar panel and the charging to phone still work.
Okay.
So I keep it around as an emergency charger for my phone.
Yes. Have you tried it?
I can leave this in the sun connected to the phone and it will charge the phone.
Okay.
But I think the batteries have outlived their usefulness.
For power banks, I definitely try the stuff that you think you're going to be using in the situation. I know with my phone, I've got a higher end phone. Most chargers and power banks, my phone goes flatter while charging so it needs the voltage and the amperage of the more, not even the bigger power banks. So they need to be specifically around fast charging so they can give the wattage you need.
Okay. That's good to remember.
So my number 4 is my hammock and my bivvy.
Yep.
And with that, I can sleep a lot of places. And it's comfortable and it's light to carry. So, and the bivvy you can use on its own. I've got one of these Stick to the Moon ones. It's got all its pegs and tie-down straps and everything all in one. And my hammock, I've got tree straps for it.
Okay.
So all told, it's a very small package, so I can shove it in my go bag, or it lives in my normal bag with my clothes all the time.
Yeah, it's something that I've never carried a bivvy with me. When I go camping, I go camping. So I've got a big 3x3 meter dome, or I've got my little 1-man dome tent.
Yes.
I've slept in bivvies before. I don't particularly enjoy it. but I understand the practicality behind it. And it's something I need to look at again at getting. I've seen a lot of guys, especially in South America again, when they go hiking through Amazon or through thick jungle, there often isn't a place to sleep.
Yes.
There is no clear ground to sleep. And these guys have got some quite elaborate hammock setups that fascinate me, where the hammock's got a cover. It's basically a hanging tent.
Yeah, you get one with a underquilt, a mosquito net, everything.
And they look really impressive. I'm sure they cost a small fortune.
Yeah, you get a hammock tent set up that it sleeps like 4 people or something.
What?
Between different trees, and it's got a rope ladder that you can get up into the thing, and yeah.
That sounds more like kids having fun.
Yes, but you're also looking at places where there's things that want to eat you at night. So if you want to get into the trees.
Yeah. I think a nice lightweight hammock with a bivy cover might be something I must look at getting.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, this is favorite things, not important things. So till last few years, I had never slept in a hammock. And I've since then slept in ice cold wind, rain that wet the tents, and I woke up dry. And yeah, it's actually quite fun. And it puts up quickly and easily. And yeah, it's a mental thing. You got to do it to understand it.
Yes.
And then you like it.
So the only time I've ever used a hammock is literally lazing by the pool with a beer and just like chilling out. I've never, and it's been one of those big canvas type.
Well, those flat top that you blink your eyelids and you fall off.
Oh, that's why you have it next to the pool, so you fall into the pool. But with those smaller nylon parachute material type hammocks,
yes.
How is the air insulation on that? Because obviously you've got no padding to insulate you from the cold air that's underneath you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're in winter, you obviously in your sleeping bag and you put a foam mattress, one of these foam things inside.
Okay, so you carry a mattress with you.
In summer, you don't, because it's just awesome. So I have a sleeping bag liner. So I sleep in my sleeping bag liner and my hammock with nothing else, padding the.
Yes.
And it's lovely because it keeps you cool, because I don't dig the heat very much.
Yeah.
So anything to keep me cool. And the wind blows through and it's a bit breezy. In winter, it's, you obviously have to change your way of sleeping to more warm sleeping clothes,
Yeah.
So, but I've seen guys sleeping in snow and all that type of stuff with their bivy and their hammock. And they obviously got better down sleeping bags and underquilts for their hammock.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something I think I'm going to look at getting for myself. For me at number 3, I have got fixed blade knives. I have a few. I've got from Damascus blades through to more your dagger styles. I like a fixed blade knife. They have different uses for the different style of blades. So I've got more outdoorsman-y type blades, if I can put it that way, more of your big choppers.
Yes.
And then I've got self-defense combative type blades, like my Ironside Edgeworks knife that I carry, which is also a fixed blade.
Yes.
Totally different uses. One is a little bit more concealable. It's a smaller blade. It is designed for a specific use in a defensive environment, where the others are designed for, like I said, they're choppers. I've got kukris, it's designed for chopping down trees, or at least the very least brush.
Yes.
For making fires, for splitting logs, that sort of thing. A good fixed blade knife, as I'm sure you can attest to, you can baton that through quite a heavy log and without even the need of an axe.
Yes. So what are you in? If you had to choose one of your fixed blades, which would it be, and why would you choose it?
At the moment, I've got a really nice Tanto style.
Yeah.
It's a little bit on the old school survival knife kind of look, with a bit of a serrated back.
Yes.
But it's got a fairly broad or thick spine to it.
Yes.
A nice edge, but with that thicker spine, it allows it to be batoned.
Yes.
Which I think is important, but it's not too big as to be obnoxious, if I can put it that way.
Okay. Now, one of the things I look at for my knife one is coming up, but anyway, for now, one of the things I look at is, do you have a full tang? Okay. So does your blade, the steel of your blade, go all the way to the back fully so that you got the strength all the way through? The other side of things is it so expensive that you wouldn't want to sharpen on a rock? And if that's if your answer is yes, that's not the knife for me.
Yeah.
I've looked years and years ago at an Italian special forces knife at 10 grand, when 10 grand was a hang of a lot of money. And I was
Still
like,
a hang of a lot of money.
no ways. Okay. There's no ways that is a thing that you put on your wall as a showpiece.
Yes.
And so I want something that I can beat up, and not that I don't care about it. You look after your knives, but it holds an edge, and you're not going to cry about it.
Yeah. So this one that I've got, this Tanto style blade that we've got in front of me now, like you said, would I sharpen this on a stone? Yes.
Okay.
It's a good fixed blade. It's got a full tang. It's got a decent swelled grip. I can hold it in my hand comfortably. It doesn't rotate when I chop. I have done everything from, like I said, chopping wood with it to cutting up a chicken with it.
Yeah.
So
Just
when I say chicken, it was a roasted chicken already.
Just a correction, that is not a full tang. It is a reduced, and it goes through the handle, and it's got a tensioning nut at the back.
Yes.
So your weak point is right at the hilt here.
Okay.
And yeah, the thing is, it's a nice looking blade. A lot of those type of blades are made for the cool factor, the cool look.
Tactical.
Tactical, yeah. my one, I'll get it out, and it is one I made myself. It'll come up later in the list. It is very functional. It's ugly, and I've beaten it through all types of wood, and it's made to just be a functional knife.
Yeah.
And the full tang here is, you can see the steel is all the way to the back. Yeah. So, and it's a nice thick knife, and horrible looking, but it works.
So my Ironside Edgeworks, I think it's a Shrike that I've got. That is definitely a full tang, full handle, all the way down. It's integral to the handle.
Would you sharpen on a rock?
If I had to, yes.
Okay.
But it's not designed, the knife itself is not designed for that kind of use. As I said, it's designed, it is a combative designed knife. It is designed for defensive purposes. The way you hold it, the way it indexes, that sort of thing, is specifically designed for that.
What type of point does it have?
It's a Piquel style knife, so it's a reverse grip knife.
Okay.
I'll show you just now.
Single edge or double edge?
Single edge, yeah.
Okay.
Single edge.
Would you be able to baton with it?
You could, yes.
Okay. Well, that's the thing, for me, when I'm looking at a knife, it's the versatile, a bit of a drop point so that you can skin with it. You can do a bit of woodwork with it. As much as I don't like carpentry, you can actually whittle something down and make a 10 peg if you want to.
Yes.
And it always surprises people. I was at a camp, adults, last weekend, and you make 10 pegs, and they're like, "What are you doing?" You just take a piece of firewood and you chop it up and you make yourself 10 pegs, and they're also surprised. Yeah. So but ultimately it comes down to the knife that you carry and the knife that you like and going to use is the important one.
So like I said, I've got different fixed blade options for different uses, but I've got certain knives that will never be taken off the wall, as you said.
Yeah, like my Lee Enfield bayonet and AK bayonet and all those type of things. Yeah. I understand that. So anyway, my number 3 is my little Fire Maple Hornet stove.
Okay.
It's a 28 gram little. It's got an Ian 417 connection, so it screws onto a gas bottle.
Okay.
And that thing is so light you don't even know it's there. So if in my pot and pan set, my gas bottle has got a little gas stand. It's a jet bowl gas stand that fits over the top. And this little stove fits in the little dimple at the bottom of the stove.
Jeez, that's tiny.
So it all fits into the pot and pan.
Yeah.
So that's why I love it. I've used it quite a bit, and it's got a bit of a titanium parts in it.
Okay.
But it works well.
So what cylinders does it screw to?
The normal gas cylinders, the camping gas cylinders.
Okay, the blue.
The Ian 417, so it's got the screw.
The screw fixture. Okay.
Yeah, not the clip-on.
Okay.
And Fire Maple, I found, makes pretty good parts. I mean, pretty good stoves.
It's a brand I don't recognize. I'm going to have to go check it out.
Yeah, they're not MSR, but
MSR makes amazing stuff, but they're out of my personal price range.
Yeah, they're definitely not as expensive. I mean, for my kids, I got the Fire Maple, what was it called? I don't know. It's one of their stoves. It's got a very big rose, so it heats very quickly. This little Hornet, because it's so small, it's got a very small rose. It works really well, but you got to be careful that you don't burn a spot on your pot.
Okay.
You know, not everything can burn fast, you know,
Yes.
if you're cooking.
Yeah.
But yeah, for making coffee in the bush, it's awesome.
Yeah, because when it comes to stoves, I've got a variety of stuff, but
Same.
I don't really have anything for hiking at the moment. I've got a couple of the old camping gas that take the puncture cylinder.
Yeah.
But I'm struggling to get spare parts for them.
Yeah,
I find that the jets tend to get blocked, and then you're stuffed. You can't. There's not much you can do about it.
Yeah.
I've got two sitting in the cupboard at the moment where neither of them, they've got full cylinders and neither of them work.
Yeah, the problem I find with the puncture style, besides the fact that once you puncture it, you got to use it, is because you got extra mechanics around to hold the cylinder
bulky.
in, it becomes bulky and heavy.
Yeah.
And so I do have a really light cylinder. I've got the Jetball 100-gram cylinder.
Okay.
And that's really cool. But yeah, Jetball's threading doesn't agree with everything. So I use a 230-gram in my pot, in my bag.
Nice.
And yeah, this all sits in my go bag.
Yeah.
So what is your number 2?
So my number 2 is my Leatherman. I've got an original Leatherman super tool from the early 90s. I have that. Oh man, if that knife could tell stories, or that multi-tool could tell stories, it has been everywhere with me. It has done some weird and wonderful things, but it is something I use on a regular basis. I don't carry it on my belt.
Yes.
Mainly because I don't like having too many things on my belt. With the work that I do in retail, I don't want to look like I'm carrying a lot of stuff. So it's in my EDC. It does have a pouch. At the moment, I'm using a Cordura mag pouch.
Yes.
A 9mm for a 9mm single stack. And I find that fits quite comfortably in there. But most of the pouches that come for them tend to be quite thick, heavy leather pouches, which I'm not a huge fan of. I like the lighter weight Cordura. But as a multi-tool goes, like I said, this is one of the original super tools. It has been beaten to hell. It's been serviced many, many times. And I think having a multi-tool is essential. It is so versatile.
Yes.
It is not a primary blade. The fact that it has a knife on it is incredibly useful. But the knife is probably the thing that's used least on it. I tend to use the screwdrivers and the pliers and those sort of things way more than I use the blades that are on it. There are some really cool, more modern multi-tools out there. Like I said, this one's from the back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Even the Leatherman Wave is now considered an old multi-tool.
Yes.
But there are other brands out there as well. There's Gerber, there's Victorinox, SOG, all these guys, they all do multi-tools nowadays. And I think that it is an essential piece of equipment for any prepper.
Yeah, even the cheapy ones. Having a few cheapy ones is better than having nothing.
So I've had a few of the cheapy ones, and I've still got a couple of them, and I find that the pliers section tends to snap off.
Yeah.
The construction isn't particularly strong. The bolts used aren't necessarily stainless steel. If you want something that's going to last you, that you're going to use, that's going to be with you for a long time, in this case, definitely get a name brand.
Well, what I chose was, I think Kway had a special on their multi-tool one time, and I bought a few. And what's nice is I just kept them. Some are living my go bag and other bags. And other ones, I just kept them. And when you have a niece or nephew or a friend of children of friends of yours come of age, and it's a nice gift.
Oh, very nice, yeah.
Because, and if you got it, you didn't pay a lot when you was on special, and it's a lot by the time.
That's a good idea,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, and my Leatherman, I had, it was 97 when I started my trade, so I think it went walkabout about 98. I was working in the Appy shop. I had my multi-tool. I worked on the machine. I turned around, put it down on the bench behind me, worked on my machine, turned around, and my Leatherman had gone for a walk.
And so sad.
Yeah, that was the last time I saw it.
Yeah.
So if you're out there listening to me, please come home.
I love a good multi-tool. So
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's cool. Cool. My number 2 is my Possibles bag, and I use the term from Zachary Fowler uses as I've just got a zip-up little bag. It fits in my go bag. It's got these pre-formed tubes in it. You can buy different energy drinks or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a little really hard to break tube, and I've got salt in one, I've got cotton wool shoved in the other one, I've got Vaseline in another one. And with the Vaseline and the cotton wool, you can make like a fire starter.
Yep.
And then in it, I've got a really big ferro rod that I bought off of, I think, Wish back in the day. It's about 10 mil thick.
Yep.
And I just put a plastic handle on it. And then I've got, one of these little breakout steel cards. It looks like a credit card.
Survival cards.
Yeah, it's got little hooks and needles and all that type of stuff. And so I got all these, some waterproof matches and everything in this bag. And it's called a Possible bag because with that you can do a whole bunch of things.
So I call that my survival kit.
Yeah. Okay.
Different name, same thing.
So these things, this bag is always in my go bag, and I've used it, man, every time I go camping or hiking. I use it.
So I've got like I said, I've got a similar thing in my EDC. I've got a push torch, so it doesn't take batteries. It's basically a hand crank torch.
Yes.
I've got waterproof matches. I've got some extra currency in there. I've got a Swiss Army knife. The mini fishing kits, all the, as you said, all the possibles, the bits and bobs.
Yeah, I don't have a light and stuff because, again, I've lights on I've got multiple headlamps on me. I've got torches in my go bag. That type of stuff. So my Possible bag is, I'll go sit next to a fire, where I'm going to make a fire and open the stuff and work on it. And it's a little hard-wearing bag that I can, carry around, where I don't want something that I'm going to step on and then break my little torch inside it or something,
Yeah.
But that's what, and this is the favorite thing. So that is one of the things I use the most.
Yeah. Which brings me to my number one.
Let me guess, spacecraft.
My knife. My EDC. So I've been carrying this knife in my pocket every day for probably close to 10 years now. And I use this every day. It is a CRKT folder. And it is a nice slim profile. That's a bigger knife than mine. But yeah, I use this knife literally every day at work for opening boxes, for doing all sorts of things. It is a reliable knife. It isn't bulky, which I like. It fits into a jeans pocket, very low profile, very simple belt pocket clip.
Yes.
And yeah, I really like this. I've had other knives. I've had Kershaw's. I've had Sogs. I've had Gerbers. And I must say, this little knife really surprised me. And I think it's called the Pazoda. Pazoda. The CRKT Pazoda. So it's 8 or 10 years I've had this now. And if I forget to take it to work with me, wow, I feel naked the entire day. It's like there's something missing on my pocket.
Yes.
But yeah, this is my number one. I'll go everywhere with this.
Oh, okay. Well, funny enough, my favorite number one is knife, but specifically the knife I made. I mean, I've got 2 EDC folders in my pocket. I've got 2 fixed blades in my EDC bag. But my favorite is the knife and the knives that I made, that I know how to fix them. I know what they can take. Like the one that's in my EDC bag, even the sheath is made, it doesn't have a belt loop. It's got a D-ring on it that I can clip to my bag or whatever else. And the knife itself has got a full tang. It's got a wooden handle, and I put a really big hole in the back of the handle with a ferrule in it, so that I can use that to put paracord through to either when I'm using for chopping, or I can strap it to a piece of thing and make a steel spear out of it. On the back, it's a really thick, rounded spine, and I've got a bit of a
staunch spine,
a groove in it, like a radius groove for using on the ferro rod.
Okay.
And that is the one I use to baton with.
I can see you've batoned with that. It's still got some wood on there.
Yeah, this was last weekend. And my other one is a Tanto style one that I made years and years ago. That was out of D2, or in boater terms, K110. And I've cut through the breastbones of buck with it. I've batoned through logs with it. I've done whatever, and it hardly ever needs sharpening. It's a more Tanto style, but it's got a hollow grind, and it's really sharp, but it's made for my hand. So it's made so that I can hold it reverse, with the blade pointing down on my forearm, or forward, or back to front. So I've used it in a lot of different ways, chop through bone and all that type of stuff with it.
Very nice.
And this one that I carry with me is 5160, and it's good. It's not the steel is not a D2 quality.
Okay.
But it is brilliant for what it is. So it holds an edge good enough, and it's not going to crack for me batoning.
Yeah.
A lot of the other, if you got a really hard blade, you can snap them off.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons even though I carry folders and stuff, you're doing your folder a great disservice by batoning with it.
Yeah.
There are YouTube tutorials on how to baton with a Victorinox little pen knife,
yeah,
and so that you don't break it. So there are techniques to do it if you're stuck in that scenario. But I like the ones that I made because I know them. And as much as they got sentimental value, I can sharpen them on a stone. I know what they can take before they die.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to make my own carry blade yet. It is something I really want to do at some point. Did you smith that, or is it a grind and...
Well, it's grind and harden and then...
Grind and harden,
yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, as you can see, it is ugly. There's nothing...
It's practical,
dude.
Dude.
There's nothing pretty about it.
That's a practical knife.
I think in total it took me about, not with the handle, just the grinding of the blade and stuff took me maybe, let me say, maximum an hour. Okay. Putting the handle and stuff on, maybe another 2 hours for everything. And yeah, a friend of mine built the sheath because, yeah. I haven't tried leatherwork yet.
So yeah, one of the things I definitely want to do one day is go and do a blacksmithing course.
Okay.
And learn how to make my own tools. And obviously the first thing that most people make is a knife.
Yeah.
I've seen some really cool ones. I've seen guys taking old spanners and turn those into knives because of the type of steel that's used. But yeah, it's definitely, knife making is something I've always been fascinated by, and it involves using fire even better. Yes. So yeah, no, but that's cool.
The knife making there, I think, falls definitely into two fields. You have the artwork side of things.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Guys make beautiful knives.
Yeah.
Those beautiful knives aren't always necessarily the best knife to use. They're beautiful knives. And to show the artistry and the skill of the blacksmith, it's impressive.
So I've been to some Cape Knife Makers Guild expos that they had in Cape Town. And my goodness, some of the stuff those guys do is, as you said, it's pure artistry.
Yes.
But I'd be too scared to use it. Because it's just beautiful. And I wouldn't want to nick an edge or tip the knife or something like that. Even scratch the beautiful burled wood handles that they have,
Yeah.
And the difference between a practical, usable knife and something that's beautiful is there's quite a big gap there.
Yeah. And also, you've got so many different grinds and edging and stuff on your knife, and each one has a purpose. And so the shape of your knife, what the point does. But I think in closing, talking about knives, the one saying, or what is it? It's not a proverb, but they say that a knife is the most expensive screwdriver you will ever buy. Because everybody wants to use a knife to loosen screws.
No. There
are so many better things to do with a knife than loosen a screw with it.
Yeah. So Adam Savage's book that he put out a while back, which I've got on the bookshelf here somewhere, it's called Every Tool's a Hammer. I would say, yes, every tool can be a hammer, but if you use my knife as a hammer, it's going to be used on you.
Yeah, well, every tool is a hammer if you need a hammer.
Yeah. Anyway, dude, it's been interesting chatting to you again about our bits and pieces, our gear.
Yes.
And quite interesting to see that we've got a lot of stuff obviously similar to each other.
Yeah.
But that's obviously what we do.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're talking about favorite things instead of important things. We could always rate our stuff all in the level of importance.
That's a different list entirely.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it's been a good one. Good seeing you again. And
it was wonderful seeing you too.
We'll see you around. Cheers.
Cheers. Keep well.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Off-Grid Survival. For more info and updates, feel free to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Off-Grid Survival ZA. That's it for now. We will see you next time. And always remember, be prepared.